Welcome back to News Channel 21's live debate for State Senate District 27. As thousands move into Central Oregon, our next question turns to ODOT's control of Highway 97. A $200 million ODOT project to widen and add on to Highway 97 is currently underway, of course. Do you support the project, and are other changes needed to Highway 97? Councilor Broadman, you go first on this one.
Well, I spent the day today with the Joint Committee on Transportation on this very topic. We were delving into the struggles the state has had to fund a safe transportation system. Central Oregon is at the forefront of this issue because we are one of the fastest growing communities in the country, let alone the state. I support safe traffic infrastructure that reflects our growing economy, our growing population. And the most important part of that transportation infrastructure is unlocking middle housing to make sure that we have enough homes in our community for the people who are moving here, for the people who are staying here, the community workers who continue to make our cities and our county run. I will always support safe transportation infrastructure. I lobbied and worked to make sure that we obtained funding for the Hawthorne Bridge. I've worked to make sure that we funded and built the Bend Bikeway. And my goal is to make sure that every kid in Central Oregon can get to and from school safely, to reduce congestion, give more predictable travel times, and ensure that our transportation system works for everybody: freight, economy, kids, and families.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Summers.
Yeah, I think we've all felt the pressure in the last, at least my entire life I've been here. And when I was a kid, it was 19,000 people. And we've gone from that to where we are now in a very short amount of time. So a lot of growth, and a lot of even beyond our projections of where the growth would be. I remember when the Parkway went in, and it was almost immediately inadequate. So having the actual accurate estimations of where we are, where we're going, and being able to have the appropriate funding behind it, being able to have east to west transport, being able to get where we need to go in a safe manner is super important. There's a lot of ways that I think we've gone a little off track. For instance, the bike bridge adoption going over the Parkway started at $4 or $5 million, and now it's at 40 to 50 million. I think we can use our transportation dollars better than that in much smarter ways that actually serve a lot more people. So there's a lot of planning still to be done. I am absolutely open and want to be ahead of it next time instead of behind it.
Okay, Mr. Broadman.
Yeah, it is so critical to do what we did with the Hawthorne Bridge, and that is to bring in federal dollars, bring in state dollars, because we know that our local transportation budgets are strapped. And we can't simply fund more locally to ensure that we're meeting our obligation to grow sustainably for our economy and for housing and for our families. We need to make sure that we're attracting the dollars, like I did, to build sustainable transportation infrastructure that serves all of Central Oregon.
All right, Mr. Summers, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I have no rebuttal to that, thanks.
All right, then we'll move on to question number 5. And Mr. Summers, you will start on this one. Our question is about legislative walkouts in Salem, something both Democrats and Republicans have done in the past. It cost the former 27th District Senator Tim Knopp the opportunity to seek re-election. Do you support walkouts, and do they best serve the district? Mr. Summers.
So walkouts are what happens when you have a supermajority in the state. When one side feels like it has no options, when it has no voice, and really anything can be crammed down its throat without any kind of reach across the aisle. One-party rule will often make it to where that was the only option that they had to use. So that speaks to the climate of Oregon. And that is a very real possibility. Again, if Mr. Broadman gets elected, we're back in that supermajority position where half of the state has no representation. And as much as he says he'll reach across the aisle and be a moderate, he hasn't been a moderate in Bend, and he won't be a moderate in Salem. I am the only one that can go in there and actually be a check to the balance. I can actually go in and say, whoa, hang on. There's other people in this state that actually have needs and wants, and they're not being represented by this. And we can actually do what we did in the Redmond School District, which is find a balance, keep the crazy on the sidelines, and focus on what's best for our constituents.
All right, Anthony Broadman.
Yeah, I will commit right now to never walking out on Central Oregon. I don't believe in Democrat walkouts. They were wrong then. I certainly do not believe in extremist walkouts that happen and shut down our progress over the last 2 sessions for nothing. What did we get for that except for extremism, divisiveness. And when I talk to parents in Redmond who have kiddos in the Redmond School District, they have a lot of concerns that your actions don't match your words when it comes to reaching across the aisle. Like, for instance, when you voted on August 24th, 2022 to allow more guns into Redmond schools. When you took a trip 1,100 miles away to a protest on the Mexico border. When you used taxpayer dollars to hire a private law firm to go on a wild goose chase against the state over COVID. That's not bringing people together. It's divisiveness and it's partisanship, and it's something that I think, frankly, Central Oregon is tired of, and I agree with those concerns.
Mr. Summers, you have 30 seconds to add here.
Yeah, I never banned guns in schools. We actually have 2 existing policies that already make it to where you cannot bring a handgun onto our premise. It was an additional optional policy from the state. We opted not to adopt it because we already had much better policies in place that covered a lot more. And I know attorneys like to have 10 laws when you really only need 1, but that's what we did.
30 seconds, Anthony Broadman.
Yeah, it's simply false. And I can send you the video. On August 24th, 2022, you voted to allow concealed weapons into Redmond public schools. The record speaks for itself. Frankly, I would be embarrassed by it also. It's not consistent with our obligation to keep our kids and our teachers and our school workers safe.
I feel like Mr. Summers has something else to say on that.
Yeah, it's our policies right here that already cover all that stuff. So unnecessary policy can stay where it needs to be when we have robust, good, solid policy that protect our kids. We've also made sure our infrastructure, our camera systems, our security systems are all state-of-the-art. We just are finishing those up. So our kids are as safe as you can possibly be. I'm proud of it.
Mr. Broadman?
Yeah, the record speaks for itself. There was an opportunity to ban concealed weapons from schools, and my opponent voted against it. It's really sad.
We're going to move on to question 6 now. We could go on with that one, but we got to move on. Homelessness is top of mind for Central Oregon residents. Many take refuge on a state property like ODOT's Highway 97 and the Bend Parkway. Should state agencies like ODOT be more aggressive in removing homeless encampments from state land? Mr. Broadman, you begin this one.
Homelessness is one of the existential challenges of Central Oregon. For 10 years before I was on City Council, homelessness had increased every single year. Every single year. I started the Coordinated Homelessness Response Office with colleagues from the county and the City Council. And the result is that last year we had the first reduction in homelessness by 5% in the city of Bend. We have so much more work to do. I also worked to pass the camping code, which better regulates public land and doesn't allow people to camp and use our public right-of-way wherever people choose. That's not consistent with a safe, orderly society. We need to move and help people graduate into more stable housing situations. That's the recipe to end homelessness. We also can't let the 200 kids in Redmond Public Schools be a political football. There's 200 kids in Redmond Public Schools who are homeless tonight. There's 400 kids in Bend Public Schools who are homeless tonight. Those kids can't be a political football. We have to work together in this community to reduce homelessness and graduate people out of homelessness.
All right, thank you. Michael Summers?
Yeah, I'd like to point out that 5% is not an impressive number. I've been on 2nd Street, in fact, in the last couple of days, and I'm frankly not impressed. It's a very complicated issue that requires really getting in and seeing what the actual need is, getting rid of the criminals that are amongst the camps, getting rid of, making sure that the vagrants are not welcome here, but then getting into the people that actually need our help, the people that need mental health, that actually need a hand up and a help out. We've put flooring in the Shepherd's House, in Bethlehem Inn, in the Veterans Village, because we're actually making sure, while politicians are talking about fixing it, we're actually making sure that people are sheltered on Summers floors. It's pretty fun, and we're actually doing something instead of just talking about it.
All right, Mr. Broadman, 30 seconds.
Yeah, the recipe to turn the tide on homelessness, we've shown a ton of success. The rest of the state is looking to us. How, Central Oregon, how did you do this? Bend, how did you do this working with the county? You saw our vote last week with the county commissioners. It was 10-0 to remove some fire danger camps. We will keep investing in housing, again, building more housing than anybody else throughout the rest of the state, providing services to people who need it, and graduating people out of homelessness. That is the recipe.
Okay, Michael Summers, 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's in the details. And the more that we can get people out of those camps and into a healthy and safe spot, the better. I'm proud to say that we've employed graduates of the Shepherd's House in our company, and they've been shining examples of what can happen when you give somebody the opportunity. There's also people that's just not an option for, and they need a more graduated level of steps, or either steps or just a lot more support in ways that they really can't be out on the streets with. I've unfortunately seen a lot of people out there that are a danger to themselves and others, and my heart goes out to them, and we have to make sure that they are taken care of.
All right, thank you both. Stay right here, folks. We'll be right back with the candidates' closing statements for Ben's coveted state Senate seat. Stay with us.